Welcome to the deep dive. We look at the stories shaping our world, and right now, everyone's talking about AI, aren't they? Chat GPT, generative stuff.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It really is.
But, have you ever stopped to think about what's actually powering it all? Not the code, I mean, but the physical stuff. The actual hardware.
Yeah, the giant brains behind the screen.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget AI needs a physical home, a massive one.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. Applied Digital's huge, was it $3 billion?
$3 billion, yeah. For their AI factory expansion up in North Dakota,
Yeah.
it's a really good deal.
It's a staggering number, and it feels like, a really key piece of this whole AI revolution puzzle.
Definitely.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack what an AI factory actually is, why North Dakota is suddenly this epicenter for it, and what it all means.
Right. What it means for Applied Digital, sure, but also for, like, global computing demand, the power grid,
Yeah.
even the local towns.
We've looked at, well, all sorts of things. Financial reports, company info, market analysis, even what people are saying in online forums trying to get the full picture for you.
Yeah, so you'll get a handle on just how much energy AI needs. It's kind of shocking. And how tech is trying to cope.
And the trade-offs involved. It's complex. This is basically your shortcut to understanding the hidden engine behind AI. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. So the big headline, Applied Digital, that's APLD, on the stock market, they're breaking ground September 2025.
Yep, on Polaris Forge 2 near Harwood, North Dakota. That's the $3 billion one.
And it's massive. We're talking 280 megawatts to start.
To start, they're designing it to scale even bigger. It's on, what, over 900 acres? Huge footprint.
Wow. When's it supposed to be up and running?
Initial operations are planned for 2026, they say. Full capacity, early 2027.
And the goal is pretty straightforward, right? Just meeting the demand for AI computing power.
Essentially, yes. They say it's to meet the increasing demand for AI computing power. And it builds on their first site there, Polaris Forge 1. So North Dakota is clearly central to their strategy.
Applied Digital seems to be positioning themselves as pioneering digital infrastructure innovators. I saw that phrase.
Yeah, they talk about transforming dirt to compute.
Transforming dirt to compute. What does that actually mean in practice?
It sounds cool, but it means they build these specialized facilities basically from scratch, often on undeveloped land.
Ah, okay. So they can optimize everything right from the start. Power, cooling.
Exactly, rather than trying to make an old building work. And it seems to pay off. They won Best Data Center in the Americas 2025, apparently.
Okay, so it's not just hype, but this term AI factory. What makes it different from just a really big data center?
That's a really important distinction. NVIDIA defines it as specialized infrastructure for the entire AI lifecycle.
So data comes in, gets processed, trained, fine-tuned. Inference happens. The output is intelligence.
Right. Measured in token throughput. It's actively creating intelligence, not just storing data.
Okay, like a library versus a publishing house. I like that. So how does that change the design inside?
Big differences. First, it's purpose-built for AI and HPC workloads, high-performance computing, not general purpose like many older data centers.
Makes sense. What else?
Cooling is huge, literally. AI hardware runs incredibly hot, so traditional air cooling often can't keep up efficiently.
All right.
These AI factories, like Applied Digital's, use advanced liquid cooling, much more efficient. They're aiming for a PUE of 1.18.
1.18, that's incredibly low. Power usage effectiveness, for those listening, means almost all power goes to compute, not cooling.
Exactly. The global average is way higher, like 1.55 to 1.59. Getting PUE down that low saves enormous amounts of energy and money, especially at this scale.
A huge competitive edge, and better for sustainability too, surely.
Absolutely. Then there's the networking. They use things like InfiniBand. Think of it as a dedicated superhighway connecting all the GPUs.
GPUs, the graphics processing units doing the heavy lifting for AI.
Right. Thousands of them. They need ultra-fast, low-latency connections to work together on training these massive AI models. InfiniBand provides that.
So how does it work? Simplified. Data comes in.
Data pipelines clean and structure the raw data into tokens the AI can learn from. Then, inference processes use the trained models to make predictions in real time. And it's a cycle, constantly improving.
And they use digital twins, virtual models of the facility.
Yeah, apparently they use those to design and test everything before they build. Helps optimize layout, airflow, power, catch problems early, reduces risk, speeds things up.
That sounds incredibly useful for such complex builds.
It is. The overall benefits are clear. Turning data into value, optimizing the AI process, better performance per watt, easier scaling, secure environment.
And they're not doing it alone. You mentioned partnerships.
Big ones. They have a 15-year lease with CoreWeave. CoreWeave is an AI hyperscaler, basically a cloud provider specializing in AI.
15 years. How much power?
400 megawatts at their Ellendale campus. That deal alone is expected to bring in around $11 billion in revenue.
11 billion just from one deal at one campus.
Yep. Shows the kind of demand that's out there. And they're also working closely with NVIDIA.
The chip maker.
Right. To build these data centers to handle 100 megawatt IT loads, connecting something like 70,000 of NVIDIA's top H100 GPUs.
70,000 H100s. That's just a mind-boggling amount of compute power in one place.
It really is. State-of-the-art stuff.
Okay, which brings us back to the location. North Dakota. Why there? It's being called one of the most strategically important destinations for AI infrastructure. That's a strong statement for North Dakota.
It sounds surprising at first, maybe, but there are solid reasons. First, energy. Lots of available land, and crucially, lots of available power. Reliable power.
From local providers.
Yeah, they're partnering with local co-ops. Cass County Electric, Minn Kota Power. Getting that reliable power is foundational.
And I guess the state government is welcoming?
Very much so. You see quotes from the governor, Kelly Armstrong, the mayor of Harwood, Blake Hankey. They're all praising the investment, the jobs, the supportive business climate. That helps.
Yeah, that's right.
And then there's the free air conditioning, basically.
The cold climate.
Exactly. North Dakota's cold weather means they can use natural cooling much more effectively. That saves a ton of money on energy costs for cooling.
How much are we talking?
The CEO, Wes Cummins, estimated a customer could save something like $2.7 billion over 30 years in a 100 milliW facility there compared to a warmer location, just from the cooling advantage.
2.7 billion. Okay, that is a massive incentive. No wonder they're building there.
Right. It fundamentally changes the economics.
It sounds like they're trying to integrate well locally. You mentioned workforce housing near their other site.
Yeah, at Ellendale, they invested in housing, built partnerships. State officials seem hopeful they'll do the same in Harwood. Being a good neighbor matters for these long-term projects.
So beyond the massive investment number, what about the tangible impact? Jobs, local economy?
Yeah.
What are the specifics for Polaris Forge 2?
Well, the projection is over 200 full-time jobs once it's running, plus longer-term contractor roles.
200 jobs?
Yeah.
In a place like Harwood, that's pretty significant.
It really is. High-tech, presumably well-paying jobs.
And then the construction phase itself must be a boost.
Oh, yeah. The sources talk about a boon to the local economy during construction. You know, workers needing places to eat, stay, buy gas, all that activity.
Does it put pressure on things like housing, though?
The mayor of Harwood didn't seem too worried, actually. He mentioned being close to Fargo helps absorb some of that pressure. He seems focused on the long-term growth potential.
And it fits with the state's strategy, doesn't it? North Dakota actively wants these data centers.
It seems so, partly because the state generates a lot of energy that it can't always easily export. So having big in-state users like data centers helps utilize that power.
Ah, interesting. So it solves a problem for the state grid, too, in a way.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
And they're even supporting infrastructure like natural gas pipelines, hoping it enables more expansion. Applied Digital backed a recent bill for a pipeline guarantee.
So it sounds positive for North Dakota in many ways. But, projects this big always have another side. Challenges, concerns.
Absolutely. And the biggest one, globally, is energy demand.
Right. These things must just devour electricity.
They do. Data center power use worldwide has jumped 20% annually since 2020. It's now about 1.6% of global electricity consumption.
Which is like the entire country of France.
Equivalent to France, yeah. It's staggering.
And AI is the main driver of that recent surge.
A huge driver. Deep learning, generative AI.
Yeah.
They need those power-hungry GPUs and TPUs. They just consume vastly more power than older processors.
You mentioned GPT-4 training.
Yeah, 62,319 megawatt hours. That's over 40 times what GPT-3 needed.
40 times.
And even just using AI, like an AI search query, it's estimated to use maybe 10 times the power of a standard Google search. Really puts the cost of AI in perspective.
It really does. So where's this heading? What are the future projections?
Well, one analysis we saw projects, global data center and AI power demand could triple, maybe even quadruple by 2030.
Triple or quadruple?
Yeah, going from around 414 terawatt hours in 2023 up to potentially 1,100 or even 1,500 terawatt hours by 2030.
That high-end number,
Hmm.
what percentage of global electricity would that be?
Could reach 5% of all global electricity consumption, just for data centers and AI.
Well, that naturally leads to efficiency questions. You mentioned the PUE gains have stalled. Kumi's law isn't keeping up.
Seems that way. The easy games might be behind us. The global average PUE hasn't improved much since 2020, stuck around 1.55 to 1.59.
So future improvements need real breakthroughs.
Right, in technology and algorithms, and there's always the worry about the rebound effect, Jevons paradox.
Where making it more efficient just leads to us using it even more.
Exactly, because it gets cheaper or easier, demand shoots up, potentially wiping out the energy savings.
Okay, this connects to things we saw in online discussions. Concerns about the power grid. Can these giant centers destabilize it? Do they drive up rates for everyone else?
Those are definitely concerns people raise. The idea that they might suddenly drop off the grid, or that their huge demand forces utilities to build expensive new capacity that raises rates for residential customers. Some worry about subsidies, too.
What does Applied Digital say to that?
They argue they use available power on existing lines and won't negatively impact rates. They position themselves as providing a stable, predictable load that can actually help the grid.
It's a complex debate.
Very.
Yeah.
And you have AI data centers competing for power with electric cars, heat pumps, all these other things we're trying to electrify. It puts immense pressure on upgrading the grid.
And the source of that power. We want renewables, but AI needs 247 power.
That's the crux of it. Renewables like solar and wind are intermittent. Nuclear is steady but expensive and takes forever to build. So realistically, natural gas is expected to fill a big part of the gap. Estimates suggest 40–45% of the additional power needed for data centers by 2030 might come from natural gas.
Right.
It offers that flexibility and reliability they need.
It highlights the tricky energy transition we're in. Okay, besides energy, what about water? Cooling uses water, right?
You can, yeah. And that's another environmental concern raised online, especially in drier areas or places with agricultural needs.
How does Applied Digital address water use in North Dakota?
They emphasize two things. One, the cold climate reduces the need for evaporative cooling. Two, they use a closed-loop system.
Meaning they reuse the water.
Right. They recirculate the same water, so the actual consumption is very low. They compared the Polaris Forge 2 usage to about 2 households.
Okay, that sounds minimal, though some online comments still mention worries about chemicals in the cooling systems.
Yeah, those operational details and potential impacts always draw scrutiny.
And what about the social side? The impact on the actual community? We saw mixed feelings on Reddit.
Definitely. It wasn't all positive. Some people see the jobs and growth, absolutely, but others are skeptical.
They're skeptical about what?
Whether the jobs really go to locals or if it's mostly outside contractors. Whether the wealth gets extracted rather than benefiting the community long term. Concerns about noise pollution came up, too. Someone mentioned a lawsuit against a different data center over noise.
Noise from the cooling systems, presumably.
Most likely, yeah. Large fans can be loud. And there was also this broader concern about communities getting locked into long-term agreements, potentially losing some control.
So it's that classic tension between economic development and local impact, local control.
Exactly. It's never just about the tech or the dollars. It's about how these massive projects fit into real places with real people.
Okay, so let's recap. We've looked at Applied Digital's huge $3 billion AI factory plan in North Dakota. We've seen how these aren't just data centers, but specialized facilities built for the entire AI lifecycle.
Right, designed to churn out intelligence and meet this just explosive demand for AI compute, using advanced tech like liquid cooling and high-speed networking.
We unpacked why North Dakota makes sense: the power, the climate, the supportive environment, and the potential upside for the local economy, the jobs.
We also dug into the challenges, the massive soaring energy demand of AI globally, which is really putting pressure on grids and power generation.
Yeah, the efficiency limits, the role of natural gas, the competition for power.
And those local concerns, grid stability, water use, noise, and whether the benefits are truly shared within the community. It's complex.
It really strikes me that the future of AI, this seemingly digital, ethereal thing, is so deeply tied to the physical world. Land, water, immense amounts of energy.
Absolutely. You can't have the AI cloud without the AI factory on the ground.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. As AI keeps accelerating, what innovations are we going to need to bridge this gap? This gap between the almost limitless demand of the digital world and the very real physical limits of our planet.
And how do we, as societies, manage that? How do we balance the incredible promise of AI with the practical realities, the costs, the footprint, ensuring this revolution actually benefits everyone?
Something to think about. That's all for this deep dive.